I just recently saw the newest Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, a couple hours ago. One of the things is, like, it was very entertaining overall. There were flaws. This was not a perfect movie without a doubt. If I had to give this a rating on a scale of 10, I would either give this a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. I can understand why this movie is being very controversial among critics, especially after hearing and reading some of the synopsis of their reviews. This is definitely a huge nostalgia trip. Definitely a lot of nostalgia in this movie, no doubt about it. Or like a lot of like nostalgia themes going on, whether it's locations, whether it's vehicles, whether it's the music, the soundtrack, especially the soundtrack for this movie. That being said, I don't really have a problem with that though. That's really something that doesn't really bother me. So I really enjoyed the movie overall. Like I said, like I also mentioned, there were problems. One of those problems was how things seem to just randomly happen. I mean, like, I get it. There's not a ton of time in the movie. It's 2.5 hours. At the same time, though, it just seems like they were trying to just pack so much into it, and I could see how some people might take issue with like some of the things in the movie, like the part where it seems like Chewbacca died. So like Chewbacca, at one point it appears that he died. And then later we find out that he didn't. And then someone might be wondering, like, oh, well, how did he survive the crash and stuff like that? Another example of something I take issue with some of the dialogue. Like with Poe giving the victory speech about, like, this is the last battle, or this is the last great war, or something like that. And it's kind of just like, when someone says something like that, it's just kind of like, chances are that's not actually going to be the case. There's always going to be another fight that happens, another conflict that happens. I understand this is a science fiction franchise. I understand it's a very common theme within science fiction and within fantasy movies, and some have argued this is a sci-fi fantasy movie, which it definitely has elements of fantasy mixed with sci-fi. So that's what I'm just referring to Star Wars in general. So yeah, there is that dichotomy of the black and white dichotomy, the good versus evil, like the good triumphs over evil, and obviously in this movie, good triumphs over evil. That being said, you could have left a little wiggle room for like some kind of like, aftermath. Like, hey, like, we got, there's more stuff that's gonna happen, or there's still an enemy out there, because like I've noticed, and again, this is a thing within Star Wars. This is not like J.J. Abrams doing nothing new here. Like, this was relevant in the Return of the Jedi. They blew up the Death Star, but then like there's still a whole fucking fleet of Star Destroyers that are out there. Like, it just and then like in this movie, it just seems like some of the Star Destroyers got destroyed so easily. It's just kind of like, that's odd. Although I really do dig the laser cannon, how every single Star Destroyer had a giant like cannon on it that was a planet killer, essentially. That's some Warhammer 40k shit right there. When I saw the scene where one single Star Destroyer literally destroys a planet, I'm like, I thought to myself, like, wow, that's some Warhammer 40k shit right there. Like, they really upped the ante right there with the planet killing abilities. But I mean, it's just, you got this gigantic ass fleet, and like, it just seems like it got destroyed way too easily. Again, I'm not surprised by that. I was expecting that. But a part of me is also kind of like, well, I mean, why, you could have, maybe left some of them left, had a shot of them, going to hyperspace, like retreating or running away or something like that. You didn't have to like make it so that, like, they were nothing. So, but that being said, overall, like I said though, despite those flaws and those critiques that I found personally with the movie, I like the movie overall. A lot of good action scenes with General Hux. So General Hux, I don't know how else. I really don't. I'm not really sure what you could have done with this guy. There wasn't a whole lot of things you can do with him. I mean, I understand why they did what they did with General Hux, like how they had him shot because like he was suspected as a traitor. And he was a traitor, like, but it wasn't trying to betray the First Order to like join the Resistance. He was just betraying Kylo Ren because he hated Kylo Ren, and like clearly, what was left over from The Last Jedi came, like, transferred over into this movie. he kept a calm face, but he clearly he still had a grudge against Kylo. He still despised him. He was like screw this guy. Like, he still hated him. He essentially wanted to have like a coup d'etat. I mean, like, and if you're going with that route, I mean, like, I suppose I could say, I mean, I think it's fine for what they did, honestly. I mean, like, it was very, like, abrupt how they killed him, but it works for what it is. I can go into more detail about maybe what I would have done, but also explain maybe, like, how that doesn't work. But yeah, overall, great movie overall. I really had a good time. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely consider seeing it again. So, yeah, no, that takes care of this first impressions. Like I said, I would give this a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 in terms of, like, 10-point rating system. I liked it more than The Last Jedi. I liked it more than most of the prequels, with the exception of maybe Revenge of the Sith. The original trilogy is still the best of all the trilogies at this point. And honestly, I got to give credit to JJ. I think he had to work with a lot of limitations brought onto him by Rian Johnson. So, regardless of how you feel about The Last Jedi, you can love The Last Jedi, but you got to at least admit that, when it comes to what JJ wanted, he was kind of he had some limitations set on himself already. So, it's just he worked with what he had, and I think he put out a good piece overall. Like I said, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's the best Star Wars movie ever. It was a good movie. It was an alright movie overall. Part of me wishes that they kept Kylo Ren alive and just had him do something else, but what happened is fine, though. Like, him disappearing like that was fine too. He gave out his life force. He kind of went the same way that Luke Skywalker did. At the end, though, I'll say this: when Rey is there on Tatooine at Luke's old home, and it's Leia and Luke that appear as Force ghosts, it would have been really cool to have a Return of the Jedi kind of situation there, where, like, at first it's Leia and Luke that appear as Force ghosts, or Han Solo appears with them, but then, like, a couple seconds later, Kylo Ren and Han Solo, or Kylo Ren, also appears there as a Force ghost. I mean, like, I honestly think that was a missed opportunity right there. I think JJ should have taken a note from Return of the Jedi there and just gone with that. I mean, that would also been a nice little paid little homage to the Return of the Jedi. Excuse me. So yeah, but again, that's just that's more of an artistic choice. It's more of a directorial choice. That's maybe something more along the lines of what I would have done. I also don't know all the behind the scenes. Like, maybe JJ considered that, but then there were limitations, or there were issues that came up, and, like, maybe something else happened. I don't know all the details of what happened behind the scenes either. It would be cool to get more of a perspective of what happened behind the scenes as well. So that wraps up this first impressions audio piece right here. Thank you for listening, and tell me what you think about the movie. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.